5 seconds remaining. Dire team ban.
Apologies there, I had my mic off for a moment. But once again, welcome to the joinDOTA League Season 2 for Asia Division 1. We are bringing you First Departure versus MiTH.Trust. I am Roxas, and with me is Whiplash. How you doing, buddy?
Hello, Roxas. Will be our first cast together, but I'm excited.
Absolutely.
I always love casting with new people, so we'll see how it goes. From what I've heard, you generally do a little bit more play-by-play than analysis. Am I correct on that?
Generally, yeah, I like to yell
5
things.
seconds remaining.
Okay. Well, obviously, I'm newer to casting Dota 2 than you are, so we talked beforehand, and I'll be doing the play-by-play for the most part this game, and you can kind of take that analysis role over me.
Yeah, you'll do a play-by-play, and then I'll tell you how wrong you were right afterwards. Does that sound good to you?
Yeah, that sounds absolutely great to me.
You're used to it by now, aren't you?
Yeah, man. That's how it works.
Just kidding. So.
All right. Well, let's, I guess, go ahead and talk a little bit about the teams and such. This is, of course, like you mentioned, the joinDOTA League Season 2, a best of 2, although I heard some people do not like that phrase, best of 2. It is 2 games, and we have First Departure and MiTH.Trust from the Southeast Asian region of the world, and I'm just looking over the bans real quick here, Roxas, and I don't see anything that's really of notes. All heroes that are still very strong in the current meta.
I'm kind of surprised, though, to see Lycan, Naga, and Ember still in there. Basically because people will think, okay, well, after a hero is nerfed at the beginning of the patch, a lot of people don't necessarily want to touch the hero because, you know, what if the hero is just not good anymore and you lose the game because you play in a manner that would have won you the game in the previous patch. But I think that those nerfs are actually a little bit underrated in this patch. Well, the Lycan nerf actually makes him very, very squishy early on. You can't really fight that well. Naga has much less of a laning presence. You can't even farm as quickly. And Ember Spirit isn't able to be as active early on with level 7 or with a level 4 Slate of Fist in the period of the game when he needs to be the most active, which is the mid game. So he kind of gets that Mirana syndrome where if he gets a lot of free farm and doesn't get a whole lot of kills in addition to it, he'll kind of fall off pretty well. So those kind of stand out to me a bit. Invoker, obviously, very strong in the first ban. So First Departure, they leave Bat and Centaur in the pool, which are both taken up. Bat Rider first by First Departure. Then Centaur Sand King going to be taken up by MiTH.Trust, and Puck going to be the response from First Departure.
Indeed. Now, First Departure just banning out a few really annoying heroes to deal with. The Doom especially, I feel, warrants a ban a lot nowadays. Like, he just basically shuts down any hero. And I guess First Departure, they do not want a Storm Spirit to be 1v1 their Puck in the mid lane. And yeah, but beyond that, the picks do look pretty darn standard. I mean, you have 2 amazing offlaners. I would even argue that these are the 2 best offlaners currently in the meta. Followed by that Sand King, of course, a support hero that's been being played a lot more recently than maybe like a few months ago. And Puck's just kind of one of those heroes that, you know, you always see him around. He never really, you know, falls out of the meta, I feel.
Puck's, she's always going to be a really good hero just because she does a lot of damage. She's incredibly elusive with just a Blink Dagger. Very difficult to kill. Obviously, a Doombringer will shut her down more than a Doom would shut down a Dragon Knight. Is my biggest example of when people say Doom shuts down you. I'm like, well, Dragon Knight just kind of tanks it and right-clicks you anyway. But so they're going to be banning that out. But the other thing about Puck that is really important... Oh my god, there's a coddle. But anyway, the thing about Puck that's mostly important is that it's a big teamfight controller. That you blink in, everyone gets a silence, everyone gets a coil that is a mini-stun. They are stuck in an area. With good AoE, you can drape Firefly over them. You can have something like a Spectre Haunt to go with that. Infest damage is obviously very good. The Nyx was banned out for that reason. So Puck, that's why Puck will never disappear. But going on from that, Viper is going to give Puck a very tough time in the mid lane. Very difficult to phase shift all of those poison attack damages, and Puck is a very low HP hero for the majority of the game. So Coddle going to be brought up here from First Departure, which opens up. Are we going to see a Cancer Lancer?
I'm not sure. I mean, it's possible. I feel like Keeper of the Life's Agnum's buff on itself warrants that hero to get picked up a lot more now. with the recent patch. Just you're permanently, once you have the Aghanim Scepter, you're permanently in spirit form. So that's pretty darn cool, in my opinion. And if you can actually get that farm on the hero, I know he's a support, but if you get that farm, then he's definitely cool to have around, just kind of teleporting people all around the map.
Yep. So they do go with the old school Phantom Lancer.
Team ban.
The thing that sticks out to me immediately is that there's a Sand King, and I know that it's a support, but Sand King with Caustic Finale actually helps in clearing out waves if you're trying to push out pretty early before the super late game, and Phantom Lancer is just completely invincible.
Remaining.
But the permanent spirit form also means that the split push is going to become very real, and they've already drafted 2 space creators. Normally the trend we've seen, like First Departure's draft is pretty old school, not only in the sense that it's a Caudal PL, but in the sense that the mid and the offlane are both space creators, and the mid is not a carry as well. These dual core lineups kind of came up as a response to Doom being very popular. If you just Doom their one core, then you get to win the fight. So people started running TA, SF, mid a lot more than heroes such as Puck or Storm Spirit. But First Departure, they're definitely going to have the room for this. And MiTH.Trust doesn't really have a whole lot of wave clearing past the 35-40 minute mark.
Yeah, indeed. Looking at MiTH.Trust's lineup, they basically have everything but a position 1. And First Departure, they're looking to grab up another support. We're still going through the last phase of the bans, as far as picks and bans are concerned, but any predictions on what these teams may try to grab up as their last picks?
I think it's pretty clear that First Departure are going to need to disable. Okay, so they go for the Rubik. I think that's a good overall pick. Rubik, I was going to say, can steal Stampede. I was going to suggest a Shadow Demon as well, because Shadow Demon's also quite good against Phantom Lancer and also good to have on your team for the same reason that Shadow Demon interacts with Luna. With the extra illusions plus Shadow Demon's illusions of PL can create illusions of their own because of PL's passives. So the Rubik's going to be banned out. They might pick up the SD instead. But if Rubik does get a hold of Viper Strike, Shallow Grave, Stampede, it can be pretty difficult. And seeing their lack of lockdown, minus the lasso and the Puck silence, they're going to decide that they're not going to want a Weaver, which I don't necessarily think would be the biggest problem. Are you disconnected? Okay, I was disconnecting for a second, but
I'm here, man. Don't worry.
Okay, I was disconnecting for a second, but I mean, I guess they were just fearing maybe a super early game, like Centaur has a Blink Dagger, Viper has a mech. Let's go 5-man and try to end the game. Weaver can actually be pretty powerful in those circumstances against some pretty squishy heroes, which everyone currently from First Departure is. But MiTH.Trust decides to forego all that, and they're going to compete late game with the Spectre.
Yeah, I suppose that hero is as good as any in the late game, especially when you have to kind of compare him to the Phantom Lancer is also a really good late game hero. Do you feel like one of these actually has an edge over the other in like the late stages, like when we hit 45-50 minutes into the match?
I certainly think that Spectre does. If for nothing else, that whenever you haunt, all of the supports on the other team just take tons of damage. Puck isn't going to be able to blink. Batrider can't blink. They're both going to take a lot of damage, and they don't build tanky. Caudal is going to be, if he goes for Aghanims, he'll be decently tanky, but it's going to be really difficult. Oh my gosh, and they're going to go for...
Whoa.
Wow. I did not foresee that coming. But yeah, I certainly give Spectre the edge. It's just for she has more of an impact on the team whenever a team fight begins. But in a one-on-one fight, definitely PL has the edge there. So this is what I use this phrase a lot, but this is a very execution-based draft. I think they're both very even. I think they have a lot of opportunities at a lot of stages in the game, and Joe, I'm just pretty excited to see the game.
Yeah, it looks really cool. I'm loving that Skywrath Mage last pick. That's going to be sick cool to see how that works out in this lineup. I feel like the silence may not be as useful against some of the heroes just because they have a relatively tanky lineup, but against the supports it could be really cool to see that coming into play. But yeah, so you feel like the lineups are still relatively equal though, and it'll just kind of come down to what team kind of plays the best?
I kind of think so. I think mainly it's going to come down to the offlaners, but we can talk about that after we introduce the players. So on the side of First Departure, on the support Skywrath Mage, it's going to be scripted. On the other support, as a Keeper of the Light, we will have Lubby. Carrying in the one position as the Phantom Lancer, we have Chains. Going in the safe lane as the Batrider, we're going to have Dafa, and in the mid lane as the Fairy Dragon, we have KS.
Indeed. And if we go ahead and move over to MiTH.Trust's side of the map, taking a look at the... Oh, we have a little bit of action actually already happening. It's Tazzle taking a few right clicks and spell damage from first departure. Already back down to half health, but anyway, his name is TNK. And moving over to these other heroes that are kind of being chased at the moment, go ahead and mention that we have Sand King as Sandkun. I can't recall what his actual name is, so he's going to be called Sandkun for the rest of this game. And then as the mid Viper, we have AABBAA, ABBA, if you want to call him that. Over in the offlane, as the Centaur Warrunner, it's KYT, Lovesy, just KYT. And then finally, as the position 1 hard carry, it will be LK on the Spectre. That rounds up MiTH.Trust's lineup, looking like the Spectre will grab that Haestron as well.
So, the first thing I notice is, what makes Coddle PL super strong, besides the anti-push that Coddle provides and buys PL the time to get in the late game, is the fact that with Chakra Magic you can Spirit Lance on cooldown, which is just really difficult for anyone to deal with in lane. So they actually decide to go aggressive with this instead of bully off the offlaner, which was not expected from MiTH.Trust. So they see the lane, they instantly move the Spectre top, and they completely dodge it. So it's going to be difficult. It's against a Batrider, but not nearly as difficult as it would be to be facing endless Phantom Lance, especially if maybe she's not planning on going for Vanguard. Spectre's quite squishy early on, and it looks like they're just going to dual lane it, which...
Oh, in the bottom lane, Sandkun may actually end up getting his ward killed off before he can counter ward. Oh, this is really annoying. And the ward's kind of placed in the trees at the bottom, so that will not really be able to get spotted. It was just a little cheeky move that First Departure has been able to do, and they're even able to deward one of just the normal Observer wards as well. I do have a question for you, Roxas. What do you feel, or I guess what do you think about this essentially turning into 2 dual lanes from MiTH.Trust?
I think it's pretty smart. I think that, I mean, you pick a Sand King up with the thought that, okay, he's going to be able to stack and farm the jungle whenever the lane is calm, because they were expecting a Batrider offlane. So the Batrider, even if he's having a good time getting experience offlane, is going to be able to get a lot of money from stacks in the jungle whenever the time is right. So they were saying, okay, when that happens, Sand King can go to the jungle himself. So they're thinking, we can't have Spectre go against the PL, so they need at least some help with the Dazzle. Can we afford to keep the Sand King in the jungle? And they just are deciding yes. So I think it's actually going to work out in their favor. The jungle, Spectre's going to get farmed, she won't die, and there's going to be a lot of experience to go around. And Centaur, if there's anyone on the team of MiTH.Trust that can take up the Endless Phantom Lance, then it's going to be him. So I think it's very smart.
I suppose so. Well, regardless of that, there was still a good amount of warding from First Departure, so I do like that they managed to have done that. And Sand King, he's got the invisibility rune in the mid lane. We could be off to a quick first blood from MiTH.Trust, but they're just waiting on the perfect positioning. Now that phase shift off to cooldown once again. Back on cooldown, just trying to be annoying. I'm pretty sure the Burrow Strike should come any second. But, man...
What they're trying to wait for is they're trying to wait for her to use the orb to farm, and then go right after that. And
okay, there we
the
go.
Orb. It's Burrow Strike, and Jots to it.
Just barely gets away. That was very close. That's puck will be a-okay, and we'll just do a little bit of bottle growing. But still, a good attempt, I suppose, by MiTH.Trust, just slightly off the mark. And yeah, I guess you were right, Roxas. They really wanted to wait for that orb, but the time on the rune was running out, so they kind of... it was a do or die, or it's now or never situation.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, if we're going to look at the CS a bit, what I kind of expect the Spectre to be a bit zoned out, and she's sitting at 12 for 4 against the PL is 13 for 6, so as far as the lanes are working out, both of the off-lane carries are working out pretty evenly. As PL gets some more levels, he actually gets a lot of damage just because his agility gain is ridiculous. So he'll be having an easier time, and also when the Batrider gets more levels, he'll be able to zone out the Spectre a little bit more, especially with the help of the Skywrath Mage. And as expected, Viper absolutely crushing Puck, but still, with the Bottle Crow, Puck is still managing to sit at 17 for 2 in the mid lane, which is not something that I would have expected at all.
Yeah, that's actually pretty darn good. I would even say that it's not necessarily a crush in the mid lane. I guess eventually it'll get that way, but for now, it's not looking too bad for the Puck. Surviving pretty decently now. And as far as action goes, we've had a few pokes and prods on both ends, but no actual kills, surprisingly. I'd think that there'd maybe be a little bit more, I guess, blood on the battlefield with the amount of pokes and prods that we've seen. I'm sure there'll be some first blood pretty darn soon.
Yep. Sand King does try to get a few sacks off. I actually missed one here, but he's going for a solo smoke. He's going up top. He's decided to just go for some roaming because he knows the Centaur is just going to start to get zoned out as well. He's still getting his experience, but he still has Tranquil Boots if he needs them. And the lane is pretty well pushed up. Well, maybe they're going to be diving the spot lane. There are 2 sacks of Napalm on a Spectre. They're going for Dazzle right now. He doesn't have the mana for Grave. Firefly is going to be used. They're going to be diving under the tower. There's a concussive shot. Flamebreak going to be backing them up. This will be first blood. Going the way of the Bat Rider. Is he going to get a double kill from Firefly? No. But Sandkung comes in. He gets the Burrow Strike. There's a TP in from KYZ. And Bat Rider, his Firefly is going to wear out, and he dies to the tower shot. So an assist split between all those 3 heroes, which I think is probably the best way it could have gone if you wanted money. But when you're diving to the tier 2 at 5 minutes, you're probably not going to live.
Yeah, you're just asking for trouble in that situation. And looks like Skywrath Mage will just wall-to-wall on home, pretty low on health as well as mana, so definitely needs to. And there's a teleport to the bottom lane now from the Bat Rider, so I'm wondering if they do want to try and pick off the Centaur sometime soon. Bat Rider still lacks that level 6, does not have Flaming Lasso, but they're looking to be very aggressive, and already a Napalm stack being thrown off. There's the Firefly. It's okay. They're not going to actually go on him, they just want to clear out the creep wave, and I guess get just an early tier 1 tower.
Another tier 1 tower? You mean the first one?
Yeah. Oh, did I say another one? Sorry,
Yeah,
I meant just a tier 1 tower.
I don't know. I've seen a tier 1 tower go down before, you know. Like, this Radiant Tower, man, it always goes down. I don't know.
Indeed, it will fall. Bat Rider gets the last hit. And a little more harassment onto the Centaur. But, I mean, he has Stampede already. I don't think they can kill him. Maybe with the perfect lasso they could, but it still seems like it would be fairly hard to accomplish.
Yep. Another reason the Bat came down here was he was looking to try to steal some Sand King stacks. He finds that none of them are stacked. He's going to take the farm anyway, though. He'll probably be venturing towards this hard camp whenever he gets the chance. But Sand King's just jungling single stacks right now. He's been quite busy, and losing those War Dwarves is actually really hurting him as this time goes on. And well, Bat Rider, now it's the word go for him as he's got his Blink Dagger going up. Doesn't even finish the Tranquil Boots. There's a bit of lag. Yeah, we were all experiencing that a bit. There's going to be a slight pause.
Yeah, I'm getting a good amount of lag as well to the server, and that's my ping from Korea to Southeast Asia. Generally, it's around 100, maybe a little bit over that, but it's like 270. So I don't know what's been up with the ping today, as far as my location goes. But regardless, I think we're going to get it back in. They resumed it. MiTH.Trust is saying go. It's go time.
Well, that's fine. Let's check their ping. Wow, Hjort has 428 milliseconds of ping. That's a lot.
Ouch.
I mean, he's just the admin, so it's not like...
Oh yeah, he's like from Europe, so I would expect that amount of ping. And there have been a good amount of complaints about the Southeast Asian servers on the Dota 2 subreddit over the past few days. I've certainly noticed that.
Yeah, a little bit annoying, of course, but... Anyway, if we're looking at Spectre right now, she is going for Phase Boots right away. Hasn't picked up a Rune of Health, maybe could go for the Vanguard, but... Well, never mind.
Though, there's the Stampede, and they're going to get a bit of a silence onto the Centaur, but it's not enough. They're able to just essentially trample all over the Skywrath. This is not that tanky after all.
Radiant's bottom tower is under
Yeah,
attack.
Skywrath quite a squishy support. I was pretty surprised to see him picked up. The best thing about him is he does have a lot of nuke damage, and even as a support he can get that. He can't really get the mana to sustain it past a fight. You basically have a fight, you're like, well team, I gotta go home. But I think the biggest concern
Dire's top tower is under attack.
oh, what am I meaning to say? The silence against the Spectre or the Centaur before they get their ultimates off is just huge in team fights. And it's just so long range. Concussive Shot is a lot longer range than people really give it credit for, so... Or Ancient Seal. So, it's a decent pickup, but he's really, really vulnerable to getting picked off in these early stages. There's a lasso. Did I hear a lasso?
Yeah, there's a lasso bottom lane. They're trying to go on the Centaur. In comes Douse, who uses the Shallow Grave to keep him alive. And with a little bit of extra healing and wand charges, he stays alive. And now we're going to see a turnaround. LK is trying to go on the Spectre, but where's the detection? They don't have the detection. Lubby's going to teleport out of there, regardless of the Viper's Viper Strike. And it just ends with a single kill on the Batrider. So, pretty good rotations from MiTH.Trust. They turn around, which was looking to be a bad situation for the Centaur.
Yep, they don't get any kills out of it, but they do defend the tower. They force a couple TPs out, and PL is barely out of tower detection range there. So, cutting it very close. And that's also showing the distinct lack of TP cancellation on MiTH.Trust. They have Burrow Strike, they have Hoof Stomp, and that's it. And until anyone gets a Scythe of Ice or a Basher. You just... or the end of Poison Touch, I guess. But most people TP out before that happens, so...
Check out First Departure's lineup. Well, hold on as I say that, there's another Stampede, and they have the Dust revealing Phantom Lancer as well. They get the stun. We'll see a double-edged follow-up. Are they going to actually finish him off? No, they're going to keep him alive. The Dream Coil nabs both of them from the look of things, ending with a double kill for the Puck. Wow, MiTH.Trust. They didn't have the follow-up after the initiation.
So, great TP rotations. The difference is when First Departure did the TP rotations, they transition into 2 kills, and it looks like they're going to transition that into a tower as well. So, pretty good play there. Yeah, Puck is so good at counter-initiating like that. I actually try to play a lot of Puck, and most of the kills will actually come whenever someone's getting dived at your tower and you TP in with a Dream Coil. They're always bunched up. They're always very susceptible to the burst damage, and they've already all used their spells on you. So, or they've already all used their spells. So they can't use them on you. So very good rotations coming in. 4 for 3 the score currently.
Double damage.
Indeed, and Puck just picked up the Blink Dagger, so I'll have that available in the arsenal. A lot more initiation power from First Departure. Also, Batrider has his Blink Dagger as well, but he's had that, I think, for a little bit now. So just a much more initiation, I suppose, on First Departure. Still, it's relatively even as far as kills are concerned, and FD do have a bit of a gold advantage, about 3k, and the experience is basically even, with MiTH.Trust having a very slight lead over them.
Yeah, absolutely. Golden experience. They don't really matter before like 20 minutes in the game, especially whenever towers aren't down and the kills are even. It just comes down to last hits and denies, and we see that MiTH.Trust is a little bit more on top of that. But I mean, Viper's expected to beat out the Puck in that Spectre. I'm barely edging out the PL in that instance, and mainly that's just due to PL having to rotate a little bit more than the Spectre. As Spectre is actually still seeing the offlane, does go for a Vanguard. They're going to be a little bit tankier in the early fights. We'll see if she goes to pick up drums, maybe even blade mail sometimes is seen on Spectre to stack with the Desolate damage, or dispersion damage, I mean. And that can be a huge presence in team fights, depending on how early MiTH.Trust are planning on fighting. They do have the mech up on the Viper, and the Blink Dagger is pretty far away from the Centaur, and I think that they're going to be waiting for that before they throw the word go out there.
Yeah, that's what it looks like. Sand King just getting what farm he can in the jungle, but still relatively poor with only a single GG branch and just normal boots of speed on him. So I guess this Phantom Lancer's pretty much gotten almost free farm throughout the entire game. So he's been doing great as far as that's concerned. Along with those 2 early towers, it's given him a good amount of gold to work with. I see item-wise that he has drums, as well as a Ring of Basilius and a Magic Wand, so just a lot of basic cheap early-on items. I guess not necessarily wanting to rush for a Radiance or something along those lines, but I do see top lane. There's going to be a bit of a fight. They get the initiation on the chains. Will they stun him? No, he's silenced, but I think it's enough regardless to finish the job. No hoof stomp required. It's just go in there at the Stampede, you throw out the dust. If you have enough heroes, the right click, you can get the job done.
Yep, absolutely. So, and that was a smoke used, 3 people going up there. So this is going to be a huge objective for them. They really need to make sure they're getting kills on the PL, because the other thing about Caudle that makes PL very hard to deal with is just that he's everywhere on the map. And Caudle can, as soon as he hits level 6, which he does have, he's always going to be able to pull PL out of danger whenever he...
Oh, hold on, no. Dazzle may actually get soloed. Yeah, he gets soloed by the Skywrath Mage. Mano a mano. The Centaur was chasing him for a little bit, but decides it would be better to back off. Make sure you can save money, I guess, for that Blink Dagger instead of suicide into a big fight.
Yep, absolutely. And that was the burst I was talking about. I mean, you saw he's out of mana, got to go home, but still catches one person out, he can just solo kill almost anyone.
Yeah. So basically, that's exactly what happened to him, unfortunately, for the Dazzle, he couldn't do anything because he was silenced and the burst damage was way too fast.
Yeah. Well, I think the scary thing, though, for MiTH.Trust is going to be this Batrider. He hasn't really been super active. For most Batriders, it's, all right, I've got my Blink Dagger, my Tranquil Boots, let me buy smoke and let me just go try to hunt and earn my Force Theft. But he's just had such good farm. He actually skipped the Tranquil Boots, didn't buy the Ring of Protection, is going to use that Ring of Regen to go straight for a Force Theft, and then just get that super early and go with that, which makes it that much scarier. And Sand King does pick up the Blink Dagger, but Batrider, he's got his Force Staff and 300 gold, and he's actually going to be using his Lasso mid to go for the Viper.
Yeah. And it looks like they should be able to kill him. He's silenced, but doing his best to run away. And yeah, the Dream Coil just as an insurance policy from First Departure, so they grab the kill. Meanwhile, top lane, another dust onto Chains, the Phantom Lancer. They're going to follow it up with an Epicenter, but the Centaur is actually blocking PL. And can they get the stomp off? No, they cannot. It's on cooldown, and that was kind of awkward. I feel like they should not have died.
I don't know, man. I'm always so impressed when a player has the presence of mind to know that there's nothing that can cancel a TP, especially when you're playing against heroes that have multiple ways to cancel TPs, and to have it in your head all of the ones that were just used, and knowing their cooldowns, and knowing I do have the time to TP out because it will only take X amount of time. So Chain's able to save his life there, saving money more importantly, and he's going to be going straight for the Diffusal Blade, as he's already picked up another Robe of the Magi in addition to his drums. So he's going to be going for not necessarily an early fighting build, but an early survivability build. And also that mana burn, going to be really good against the low mana heroes such as Sand King, Viper, and Centaur specifically. And Dazzle, he'll probably pick up Arcane Boots, and Sand King might pick up Arcane Boots too. But 2 isn't going to be enough to deal with that when there's a big army of PLs burning your mana.
Yeah, that's true. That's a
Spectre
lot of
might
mana.
be in trouble.
Oh, indeed she is. Going to get dragged as well, silenced. Out goes the ultimate from the Skywrath Mage, and they're able to finish her off. So the Spectre goes down. It's no one nearby to help her out, really.
It's so funny when you're playing Spectre and you're like, I'm getting ganked. I need a reality somewhere safe, and the only place she could reality to was a Coddle that was by the tier 2. So she's like, she realities to the Batrider that's about to lasso her. It was so funny. Like, well,
yeah, I noticed something wonky went there. Oh, the Dream Quill! Oh, just narrowly missing Sand King, or Sand Kung. It's like the saying, we're going to have a counter initiation as well. Centaur, he gets the stomp after the blink, and they're able to finish off Puck very fast. It's everyone else on First Departure. They're okay, they back up in time. Still, the burst from the Centaur initiation is just insane and can never really be underestimated.
I know I underestimate it. Like, playing a 1v1 matchup as Timbersaw against a Centaur, like, I'm 1v1 Timbersaw against a Strength here. I can do anything, and then you double edge.
Hold on a second, Chains. He's getting caught, and there's going to be the Centaur ult. They double edge him. The dust is on Chains as well. We'll see if they have enough to finish him off. Sand King, he is so low on health, getting shallow graded, but really needs to just hightail it out of here. Gets healed, but to still finish off due to the Batrider. Meanwhile, Centaur, he does finish off the Sand King, so down goes, or not the Sand King, the Phantom Lancer, so down goes the carry. Just awkward engagement both ways.
Lots of scrappy engagements.
Middle tower is under attack.
I wouldn't say necessarily one team has an edge. I guess I would kind of give it to First Departure, because the residual damage from Firefly, not to mention the nukes from Puck and the Coddle and the Skywrath Mage, and obviously the longer engagements go on, Phantom Lancer illusions keep multiplying. In those scrappy engagements, I think that First Departure are going to have a slight edge most of the time, because most of the burst is going to come from Centaur Stampede, Viper Strike, as well as an Epicenter and a Haunt. And then once those are done, if you kind of live through those, it's whatever. If you live through that, you should win the fight, I think. So
yeah.
I think that MiTH.Trust, taking a good advantage of the scrappy engagements they can get away with now, before the PL gets too big, before most of the other supports get the mana pools to...
And as you say that, Skywrath, he just gets straight up soloed
just
by
right clicks.
Viper. It was just, yeah, it was right clicks, and he was doing a ridiculous amount of damage, or either that or Skywrath is just made out of paper, which I think that's the more likely reason.
He has 30 strength, man. He's level 8 and he has 30 strength.
Ouch, that is brutal.
And Puck is level 11 32, but This guy has phase shift and orb. It's supposed to be hard to kill because he's supposed to be evasive, but
Yeah, top lane looks like Batrider. He was considering getting ready for an initiation onto the Spectre, but there's a haunt to the mid lane. Dream Coil as well to connect, but we're going to see Puck try to get out of there. There's Sand King getting Shallow Grave for the moment, but they end up taking out both supports on FD's end, which means they pretty much have a tier 1 tower free for them to take in the mid lane, unless Batrider has anything to say about that. The fortification thrown out, and can the Batrider plus Skywrath combo do enough to finish the job or get the deny off? Nope, they don't get the deny, and Viper is the one to take the last hit. Now, you see Centaur, he goes in there, but he's silenced, so unable to follow up anything beyond the hoof stomp.
yep. That was a very fast Ancient Seal coming out from Scripted, so good there to save the Batrider's life, and he actually was able to Force Staff and then blink away before he took any damage from the Spectral Dagger. So, God, I had something to mention, but I totally forgot it in the middle of that. I feel awful now.
Oh, it's okay, man. It's not the end of the world.
It is,
I'm
actually.
Sure you'll survive.
I'm going to go end it all. You heard it here first.
Oh, man, I don't want to solo the rest of this broadcast.
Oh, is that really, like... I thought
I need you
cared
to control
about
the camera.
Let's talk about what's truly important here, right? Oh, and I was going to say,
Yeah.
Spectre all of a sudden had 3,300 gold in the middle of that. And we've seen people go like Phase Vanguard Radiance, but normally it's just not super reliable.
Dominating.
Oh, wow.
Own it.
Oh, looks like
Right
we have big
clicks are
smoking
really
coming
good.
up. Alright, there's the double blink, stomp, double edge after the Burrow Strike. Oh man, that sucks for the Keeper of the Light. They're going to go ahead and stampede away from the action, but Batrider, he blinks in, gets the lasso, and Sand King, he will fall to the Phantom Lancer. I also noticed there is a buyback on the Skywrath. I don't know what's going on with that. I guess a bit of rage coming from his end, tired of dying all the time.
Just showing I'm so rich I could be alive right now. Interestingly enough, the mid tower for MiTH.Trust was left in deny range.
Now look at how darn tanky this Viper is. He does not care about what's happening to him. Well, out comes the ultimate from the Skywrath Maze, but he will fall. Dreamquay as well, flashing on the few of these MiTH.Trust people, and it will give Puck the space he needs to escape out of there, just narrowly using that illusionary orb. It was the Sand King for the Skywrath, so pretty much an even trade, I suppose, first departure. Maybe a little bit happier considering they are behind in the kill counter.
Radiant's bottom tower
Yeah, absolutely.
is under
Well, I was
attack.
talking about earlier with the Spectre going for Radiances. Looked like she was just saving up some money, and taking some good fights meant that she was able to get the money for the Radiance. So now she has it at 20 minutes as soon as the courier is not busy delivering the pipe to the Viper. So this, if you can get this up with Spectre or Radiance before dying and losing the game, it just does so much late in the game. For the same reason I was mentioning the supports. So Radiance and Diffusal Blade Spectre with high move speed and high tankability with a heart, the illusions can almost just solo the supports on their own. So you start off, every fight when you start off with a haunt, sometimes you save for a buyback and a haunt, but the supports are going to be at half to a quarter life. And we're seeing how squishy they are. Viper just looks at Skywrath Mage and he faints. and just imagine how that happens whenever he's taking haunt damage as well. Not to mention when Viper starts actually building damage. All he's done is build mech and pipe. He's going the Darkseer build. Like, the only damage item arguably he has is the Gloves of Haste and his treads. So...
Oops. Sand King spots the Puck, but she blinks away, realizing the trouble. But oh, nice blink and follow-up from the Sand King. There's the Stampede as well. And oh, the stop misses. I don't think it would have hit the mark anyway, but the double edge goes out. Orb flies, and she'll stick around. There's going to be a big turnaround as well from first departure. And they're going to lasso the Centaur. He's low on health. A bit of a stun onto the Skywrath. And finally the Centaur falls. Also the Sand King dies. This is just not looking too good at all from MiTH.Trust. They have more members joining the fight, but everybody from first departure is here. They're going to move on TNK. He has to grave himself to stay alive. I'm surprised we're not seeing him simply just TP out of there, but he decides to sacrifice himself, throw out a heal before he dies. And look at the big turnaround. We are seeing LK just destroy everybody with his newly acquired Radiance. And Viper, he survives as well. Everybody is dead on first departure. What the hell just happened there to Roxas?
You know, sometimes when an unstoppable force meets an immovable object, you get fights like that. And, well, it looks like the unstoppable force won as the Viper and... They have full health, too. Do you see the Spectre? It looks like she barely did anything. Just haunted in and casually killed everyone. And now she's almost got an Eagle song.
Dire's bottom tower
this
has
is. Can I just go ahead and say that MiTH.Trust, they pretty much have this game in the bag at this point.
They're putting. It's on that they have the game in the bag, but they are all in on this PL. And the space creator, like, I wouldn't say that Bat and Puck are doing a poor job creating space. I think they're doing an amazing job, but somehow Spectre is just finding so much more farm than this PL. And not to mention Viper. I mean, most of Viper's has been getting 7 kills. That's his farm. He sees Skywrath Mage and he sees a big bag of money to fund his mech and pipe and a gem. But still, they're just getting so many more items, and they're a team that can compete late, but also is going to have more damage early with the Viper instead of the Puck. So I just think they're outplaying them right now.
Yeah, that's what it seems to be. So Spectre working into a Reaver instead of that Eagle song, which means a very early heart for Spectre. Meanwhile, we have a lot of first departure. They're just kind of chilling over in their jungle for the time being. They're pretty darn grouped up. And if anyone kind of oversteps their boundaries, they could be in some serious trouble. Everybody for MiTH.Trust is nearby, and Spectre does have a haunt ready, just left a cooldown. So we could see a big fight pretty soon.
Yep, absolutely. Also, I want to point out one thing as far as the team fight goes for First Departure versus MiTH.Trust. They have a mech and a pipe, and 1,700 gold on their carrier. First Departure has a buckler. That's their team fight survivability, so we saw the sustain, not to mention Weave coming out. So I think that's actually what was managing to edge him over in that last fight, and it's going to continue to do so. I know sometimes, like, you know when you're playing a pub game and maybe you lose the lanes and then they just 5-man and win, you're like, well, why won't they stop? Why won't they give me some space, let me farm the jungle? This is just what MiTH.Trust is going to do right now. And they essentially are 5-man because Spectre always has haunt. And that's just the power of this hero. Being able to farm and always come into a fight instantly whenever the time is right. And also, we didn't mention this, but whenever you haunt and you have Stampede active, all of your illusions put Stampede damage on everyone on the enemy team. So, yeah, that's just so much damage to start off a fight against a team that has a lot of sustain.
Well, looks like MiTH.Trust, they want to start a fight, and in comes Spectre. We'll go ahead and reality, and they're already trying to chase away some of these weak supports. Lovey down to half health. We'll see if he's the target. D, F, and A as well. Okay, he's healing up. He'll be A-okay, but they've already been able to kill off Puck. They get the tier 2, and they're just maintaining control of this game. But on the back end, we did see Chains, the Phantom Lancer, take the tier 2 at the bottom. And he's slowly starting to push into this tier 3, but will back off. And I guess they're okay with the trade, though. I'd be okay with that trade.
I'm just so scared for any First Departure fans because, yes, Phantom Lancer is very, very good if the game gets incredibly late, but he's not invincible when he's against a Spectre and a Centaur. And they're winning early with a lineup that's very good late. Dazzle is still very good, especially with Weave. Not to mention Shallow Grave is one of the best things in a team fight. It's almost like its own BKB in a way because it can't be purged from the enemy team. Sand King can build a lot of utility items, and yeah, when people get BKBs, maybe he seems to fall off a bit. But if Sand King's the weakest link on your team, if you're looking to the late game, against a team that basically is going completely late game only on their PL, I think that that's a good problem to have.
I have to agree, that is a nice problem to have. And I mean, okay, there's a Blink Initiation on the Puck, follow up from the Centaur. It's just, Puck can't deal with that, it's way too much burst initiation.
Absolutely. Also, there's a Hasted Viper hunting a Coddle. Oh, he actually barely misses. Lubby's going to TP out. Don't you wish you had your casual ranged Abyssal Blade done?
Under attack.
Yeah, that's definitely what he wishes he had.
I mean, ranged bashes are legit.
Is what's the percentage on the ranged bash? I actually kind of forgot.
It's 10. It's 25 for melee, and it's 10 for range. The only reason you ever get it on a range here is just if you're farmed enough to get it, and someone else is going to get a Scythe of Ice, and you just need a way to lock down someone through BKB. It's still 100
Hold on,
damage.
looks like we have a big fight in the middle. They've already taken down Keeper of the Light. Burrow Strike onto both the Skywrath Mage as well as the Bat Rider. Bit of lag, but it doesn't stop the kills from happening, and man, we're seeing MiTH.Trust able to take these fights so fast. They have another tier tower under the tier 2 tower under their belt, and it looks like they're pushing for the tier 3.
This is exactly what they need to be doing right now. Coddle buys back, Bat Rider buys back for the anti-push. PL has not come to any of these fights so far, but they know that if they lose a Rax, it's going to be a completely uphill battle against this team. They throw out the Illuminate. They're going to be trying to buy time, but they have a pipe. They don't care at all. They have Weave. They have a mech.
They don't have Phantom Lancer. All right, very nice Dream Coil. Hits on 3 of the members, but
they just don't care.
They don't care. It doesn't matter. Viper is low on health, but they've taken down the tier 3, put down his Sentry Ward, double blinks from both ends. Lasso onto AABAA. Well, can they actually finish him off? The answer to that is, unfortunately, no. They don't get him. They're chasing away the Coddle. Yes, everybody is running away on first departures.
They're not even below half health. Do you see how well sustained this team is?
It's the mech, the Shadow Wave, the Urn of Shadows, and the overall tankiness of MiTH.Trust. They have everything they need to survive, but I'm wondering, okay, they're not going to back off. They're actually going to go back in on KS. They finish the job this time around. They get scripted as well. And even though Spectre's on the other side of the map, just preventing PL from doing a push, it doesn't really matter. That's a 3rd buyback over the past, like, 2 minutes from first departure, but what are they? They're basically going in 1 by 1, or, like, not as a full team, but they can't kill anybody.
It's so funny to see Puck jump in and throw out all the burst damage, and then just seeing everyone still be at full health. It was funny because Puck kind of sat there, like, before blinking back in and just kind of looked back like, wasn't that supposed to do something? Like, am I doing something wrong here? Did I not level up all of my abilities?
The power of tankiness plus dazzle equals no one dies.
Yeah, at least they don't have an Abaddon or a tree, right?
No, that would be like the icing on the cake as far as that's concerned. Our Puck's gonna throw out the Dream Coil, and we have a nice drag on the TNK, but I don't know if they can finish him off. They do get Centaur, and, well, in comes good old Spectre, the kind of clean house, as he's already gotten 3 people with a triple kill, and the GG's called. I think that first departure, they just realized that there's no coming back from this situation. So very well played by by MiTH.Trust, taking out first departure and just, like you said, I feel like they just simply outplayed the opposition.
Yes, absolutely. The thing about when you have 2 blink initiators, it's so difficult to farm any lane because of the risk of, well, I can be farming lane and then all of a sudden 2 people blink out in trees and Spectre haunts in. It's kind of like having an AA almost. Centaur Sand King AA is a good combo that we normally see, but Dazzle replaced it this time. But the global presence from Spectre, meaning people were scared to farm lanes, and PL just couldn't show up to any fights. And well, when that happens, and you have a 1-core lineup against a 2-core that is a header and is also good late, the numbers don't lie, man. So MiTH.Trust able to push their advantage. They're going to take a 1-0 series, so we'll be back with Game 2 in just a moment. Stick with us, and we'll see you in a bit.